main page to our Reusing Courses page here, which you can access. I'm going to bring this down here over at the Learn menu. So Learn and free online tutorials. And this is where you'll find all of the Reusing courses. You can go over here to webinars and upcoming webinar. This is the one we're doing right now. It's no longer upcoming. It's currently in progress. So we're going to talk about Motion Director, a couple of different scenarios in which you would use Motion Director. For those of you who are not familiar with it, it's a brand new tool that allows you to basically really enhance and quicken your workflow, make it more efficient. You don't really even have to be an animator to do anything like any of the animation. It's basically just like running a game, and I'll show you a couple of different concepts and different techniques you can use to really just throw some animation in willy-nilly really quickly into your architectural pre-visualization scenes is what we're going to get into. And we're going to get into sort of a movie previs scene at the end. And for the first section of the webinar, I'm going to be explaining the basics and the UI and all that stuff. All right. And as always, we have a Q&A at the end of today's session. So if you have any questions, put the questions in the Q&A panel there, and I will get to those at the end of the demo here, which will have about probably last 10 minutes or 20 minutes or so. So make sure you put your questions in there. You can put them in there anytime. I won't really be checking the chat too often just because it's just me hosting this webinar by myself. But we will have people that may answer questions in the chat as well. Some curators that are helping out in the background, the shadow people working at Reallusion. Okay, yeah, a couple of things I want to promote first before we get into the nitty gritty here. From the main page, we're going to go to the content store. Over here to stores and content store. And in the content store, there it is, this holiday savings right here. So this is going on until basically the end of the year. You can see we have holiday savings. You get $500 free holiday gifts. You buy two things, you get 30% off. Basically, the more you buy, the more discounts you get. Nothing really new from the Reallusion site here, but you can explore these promotions on your own time. I highly recommend, picking up a lot of stuff. It's on a highly super good discount right now, up until the end of the year. So you can find all sorts of content, whether it be for cartoon animator, character creator, or iClone. All right, cool. So you can kind of explore this on your own time. I'll throw this link in the chat window in case you want to explore it while I'm just blabbering on here. And all right, cool. Yeah, so it's already dark here in Calgary, Alberta, where I am right now. It's kind of a little sad, but apparently the sunsets will be getting later, I think, following after tomorrow. So we have that to look forward to for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere. Cool. All right, I think that about covers it. I also want to mention as well, since we're going to be talking about Motion Director, there's only a couple of Motion Director packs available in the content store. And if you want to find those Motion Director packs, you can just go to the content store, iClone, and you can see Motion Director right here. Okay, so you can see there's two of them right now. The pedestrian actions, we're going to be talking about that a little bit later. And we're also going to be talking about this athletic run. Okay, I'll just go to those pages a little bit later on when we need to. Anything else to cover? I don't think so. I think we're pretty much good to go here. Yeah, any questions, again, put those in the question Q&A panel, and I'll get to those a little bit later. Okay, so let's just go ahead and right into iClone here and take a look at our first project here, which is this female character. She's an actor core character. For those of you who don't know, you can go to actorcore.reallusion.com and get a ton of content. Whoops, actor core, there we go. I don't know what I was searching there. There you go. And this is where you can find tons and tons of characters that are, you can use them for NPCs in your scenes. You can use them for all sorts of different things. There's also Accurate, which we won't explore in this tutorial, or this webinar rather. If you have any questions, you can ask me later. But you can find all sorts of actors in Actor Core. We're going to be using a couple of these packs here later on. So I'll just go into Actor. And you can find all sorts of different, professions. These are like, scanned models. So they're really, really detailed, really good looking. You can see all the ones at the top here, young fashion, physicians. So basically any sort of background or active characters for any of your scenes. You can use these and throughout iClone, Character Creator, and also export into other software, Unreal, Unity, Omniverse, whatever you want to use. Okay, cool. So I'll just basically, I think I put that in the chat window already today. Chat. There we go. Hi from Highway 71 east of Columbus, Ohio, heading west. So Ken, I guess you must be a trucker on the road or something, or just kind of sitting in the passenger seat watching this webinar. That's pretty cool. I've never really heard of anyone being mobile while watching the webinar. Cool. All right, let's get into it, guys. Back into iClone here. Now, there's a couple things to explore in Motion Director. If you don't have Motion Director up, you can just go up to Windows here, and you can find the Motion Director Control Center. You can find your Motion Director triggers and your Motion Director Behavior Manager. We'll explore all these a little bit later on. You can just go one by one here. The Control Center is this one here. This is going to be your main, if you go to character settings, this is going to be your main one right here that we're going to be doing the most work in. And there's also the Behavior Manager, which is, I've put it over here on the right. We'll explore that a little bit more later on. And also there is the triggers, and those will appear at the bottom. We'll talk about those a little bit later on as well. Okay, but before we do that, let's take a look at the different types of content in Motion Director. If we go to our Content Manager here, and we go to the Animation section up here, you can see under Animation, we have a couple of folders, one for Motion Director and one for Motion Director Extension. Now, right now, like I mentioned, we only have one extension for Motion Director, which is the Athletic Run, which I kind of showed you a little bit earlier. We can introduce that a little bit more later on. But for now, we're going to just basically use the Motion Director. We're going to go into Motion Director here, and we have a couple of ones here. The Athletic Run, we're not going to worry about yet. The male and the female, these profiles here are all included. They're embedded in iClone. So you should have these in iClone no matter what. Okay, and then there's also a Pedestrian Actions Content Pack, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. But there's three types of files that you need to learn about with Motion Director. The first one is your basic IMD file. Okay, so we're going to be using a female character, so I'm going to go over here to female, and you can see that all of these different files here have an .imd suffix on them. Now, if I right-click on the file and go to Find File, it'll open that up in Explorer, and you can see here under Type, there are iClone IMD files. So IMD files are basic. Just think of IMD files as the base. Okay, so everything kind of stems from the IMD file. The IMD file is the base, and then you can add things on. You can add extensions onto those and all that other stuff. Now, excuse me, the IMD files that we have right here are Casual All, Casual Stroll, and Casual Walk. Now, Casual All basically just contains stroll and walk. Okay, so we're only going to worry about Casual All. Now, within Casual All, if we go to Motions here, there's a whole bunch of different IMD data files. So IMD data files are the smallest down the hierarchy, I guess you can say. Like one IMD file basically uses numerous IMD data files to produce, an idle, a jump, the actions basically that you perform when you're moving your character around. Those actions, like a jump or like a flick of the hair, we're going to look at that later. Those are all IMD data files. You don't really need to know this, but it's important. It's kind of a little bit clear if you know the structure of the IMD and IMD data files. Just know that the IMD data files are utilized by your main IMD files. Okay, that's why they're in a separate Motions folder here. Hopefully that's clear as mud. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to explain a little bit later on. And then we also have the extensions. Okay, so there's only one extension, like I mentioned so far, which is this Motion Director extension. And if I right-click on that and go to Find File, you'll see that this one is different. It has an IMD extension file. Okay, now basically a number of different IMD files will come from this IMD extension file. So the IMD extension file contains a number of different IMD profiles, and then those IMD profiles utilize the IMD data files. Okay, it might become more clear as I go through it here a little bit later on, but that's the basic structure. Okay, I think it'll be a bit easier when I kind of just show the demo to kind of see how things work. So without further ado, let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go to the female here, and we're just going to double click on this Casual All. Now, if I go to MD Controls here, you can see right now the character's text is in red. That means we haven't applied an IMD. You can see if I mouse over, it says lacking IMD data file for this IMD data for this character. So we need to apply an IMD. If we press Start right now, it'll ask us if we want to automatically assign one. So we can automatically assign the female one that is included with iClone. Again, that's the Casual All one that I showed you earlier. We can apply it from here, or we can also double click it from the content manager. So if I just apply it from here, it'll automatically just give you the default one that comes with iClone here. So let's wait for this one to initialize. It says, okay, we're good to go. And now you can see that the character is in white right here. I don't know where we are. I think we're behind a building or something. So let's just stop this for now. I'm going to make sure my character is rotated around. Okay. So again, you can press start, it'll automatically assign, or you can go from the content manager, and you can see up here on the top right, we have casual selected. The IMD we have selected as casual right here. Okay. And casual contains a stroll and it contains a walk. Okay. Which are these two ones right here. So you can basically, when you're using casual, you'll be able to adjust the speed of your walk a little bit later on. Okay. So that's the basic MD behaviors up here. We'll talk more about that later. But back to MD controls here. There's a couple things I want to explore before we get started in the camera settings. So this is the character settings. Let's go to camera settings really briefly here. Camera settings, right now we have it set to follow camera. Okay. So with follow camera selected, the camera will automatically just follow your character. Now this is useful for, if you want to have a first person or third person view, you want to walk your character around a scene using your controls or your mouse or whatever. So that's useful there. You can also record to camera. So if you want to record something, we'll do that briefly in just a moment here. But make sure that your target actor is set to the actor you want to follow. You have a number of different view presets here. You can select full shot, you can select close up, bird's eye view, custom view, all of these ones right here. I'm just going to use full shot. If we click on that, you can see this is the full shot. This is the close up. This is the bird's eye view. And you can also set custom views as well. But I'm just going to go ahead and use full shot for now, since this one's kind of like the easiest to view. Or maybe I'll just do bird's eye view actually. Okay, so it's going to follow our character. It's going to use a bird's eye view locked to this view right here. So now if we press start, boom. Okay, we're ready to go. Now I'm going to be using the WASD controls on my keyboard. These are your basic, PC game controls. W is forward, A and D are right, or left and right rather, and S is backwards. You can also use your mouse, which I'll show you in just a moment. But so you can see if I press W right now, my character will move forward. Good stuff. Okay, cool. And I can go to A and go this way, and S. You can see everything's kind of naturally blending in together, which is really cool. Okay, so we can basically just have our character move around. Now we can record this. It's actually recording live. It's basically creating some macro data, which we'll explore a little bit later. But that's it for now. That's your basic casual walk. Okay, nothing too complicated about that. And just press stop whenever you want to stop. Okay, now if we go to macro data, you can see we've already done a couple of previews here, but the one that we just did here was this 50-second one. And you can preview it again. Click on preview. This is what we did. So this is kind of me talking about stuff. And then she'll start moving in just a moment. After I finish talking. Man, how long did I talk for? I promise she'll start moving because we're just previewing it. There you go. Okay. So this is the one we just did earlier. Okay, so you can preview it anytime you want. You can just clear all these if you don't want them. Bingo, bango. Okay. So let's do this. Let's go over here. And I need to just move my zoom panel out of the way here. What I'm going to do is click on casual here. And if we go over here to edit behavior, you can see we have a couple of idles that are set for casual. And if you mouse over, you can just preview them really quickly. Okay, this one's kind of hand on the hip. All right. This one here is just a very normal idle. No hand on the hip in this one. And they'll randomly play back and forth. Okay, cool. You can just apply that. Also, by the way, you want to go into here and you also want to have stroll enabled as well. Okay, so stroll and walk are enabled. Let's go ahead and apply. And now if we play back, it's just updating that. So before we didn't have stroll active. So there was only one walking speed. And if we play back or start now after this is finished loading, then we'll have two walking speeds. And I'll show you how you can toggle between those in just a moment. Okay, cool. Okay, so now we can go ahead and start again. And now notice up here, we have 2 speed levels. Before we only had 1, now we have 2. And if we open up our window triggers, okay, MD triggers rather, I'm going to move my zoom panel over here now. You can see we have 1 for jump, and the number 1 is jump, and number 2 is tidy up. Now, tidy up, she's just going to flick her hair. Okay, there's nothing special. She's just going to flick her hair. So let's go ahead and start walking. Now, there's 2 important hotkeys to remember here. The first one is control. Notice if I click control, her speed level will go down. Now, this is a stroll. Okay, and if I press shift, it'll go up to a walk. Okay, this is 100 speed right here, and you can see she walks faster. Okay, pretty basic stuff. Now, if I want her to jump, I can just press the 1 key on my keyboard. She'll jump like this. Yay! All right, and then if I press 2, this is the tidy up, where it's just basically, like I said, flicking the hair. I don't know why they named it tidy up, but there's your bounce, your prancing. All right, cool. So that's basically it right there. Now, there's also a number of different camera presets down here, and these ones here are different camera presets as well. We won't worry about those right now, but that's basically it. Now, we have those triggers like I mentioned before. If in idle, she'll randomly go into different idles. Now, excuse me. Now, what I want to do next here is I'm going to load up the extension file. So let's go over to our content manager one more time, and let's go into Motion Director, Athletic Run. Now, if we try to apply one of these runs right now, these are kind of 3 different types of runs. If I try to apply one right now, it's not going to work, okay? Or rather, sorry, if I apply this, it'll work, but if I applied the extension first, it wouldn't work. So right now, we're just basically adding on another IMD file onto our character. And when we do, I can go up to my menu and I can select it from the menu up here under MD behaviors. Okay, so I can select Agile Walk, or casual walk, or I can select the agile M. Okay, if that's for male, it doesn't really matter. She'll run pretty good, like anyways. And then what we want to do here is we want to go over here to, you can see run. We have 2 different speeds, run and dash, just like we had walk and stroll before. Okay, now if I have this applied right now, and I go ahead and to my MD controls and go ahead and start, now I can have my character run. Okay, cool. She can run back and forth like this. And the cool thing about this is everything kind of just blends really nicely into each other. If I press shift, she'll run faster. Okay, so you can see that's a pretty nice fast run right there. And then control will take it down to a jog again there. All right, good stuff. Okay, back and forth, yada, yada. I think you get the point. Now, this one also has a jump as well. Okay, you can see down here in my MD triggers, we have jump. Okay, so only 1. Okay, so jump right there. She'll jump like that. And if we speed up a little bit, you can also jump. So maybe jump over that thing. Okay. Oh, she goes real fast with this one. Okay. Now, we can actually, like, when we're previewing right now, we can actually go over here to casual walk as well. Excuse me. And if we switch it over to casual walk, you can see now it basically switches the IMD to the casual walk that we had before. Right. So you can do this live during your preview if you have the MD triggers open, and you can use the hotkeys right here to trigger those actions. That's basically all there is to it. Now, if we go to our content manager down here, you can see Motion Director extension. We have this athletic run one as well. If I double click on that, you can see it failed to load because it's not compatible with your character's main IMD. Now, what we want to do here then in that case is we can switch this to casual walk, and I believe it should be compatible with this one. No, agile. I think we have to delete this, the athletic agile one first. I think it just automatically applies it. It never used to do this, but basically it automatically applied the IMD extension, okay, when I just applied the athletic run. So that's fine and dandy with me, no problem. The IMD extension, again, all of these athletic runs, you need the IMD extension base. And that's what I mentioned before earlier in the content store. If we go to the assets right here in athletic run, you'll see with this athletic run, excuse me, if we go down to the bottom here, you can see all the different commercialization images and stuff like that, so on and so forth. At the bottom, you'll basically see base content here, and you'll basically see what it is. It includes 3 standalone IMD, which are the ones I showed you earlier, and 1 athletic extension. Now, right here, it says MD extension. Okay, so context spec here, and it utilizes motion directors. So to use all this stuff, you need the MD extension, which comes included with this pack here. You can see one motion director extension right there. Okay, and 3 motion directors, and so on and so forth. Okay, that's just kind of exploring, we only have one extension pack so far, so it's not really too important right now, but just so you're aware, that's what the extension does. Now, I forgot to mention as well here, there's another way to control your character, which is pretty easy. And after this, we'll go on to our first scenario, which is an office architectural pre-visualization example. You can also use your mouse to control your character. This is really cool. So let's go to MD controls here. We'll use the agile one here, and go ahead and start. And if you hold Alt and you left click your mouse, you'll see it'll create a green dot up there. Let's actually change to the athletic one here. Let's use a lower speed there. So if you left click, hold Alt and left click, your character will basically go to that spot. Now, if you're holding Alt and left clicking, your character will go to all the different points in sequence. Okay, so she go to that one first, and then go to this one, and then this one, and then this one. However, if you press Alt and you right click, your character will immediately, doesn't matter what she's doing, he or she is doing, it'll immediately change trajectory and go to that position that you selected there. So you can see the point is actually red instead of green. Okay, so she's like confused. What is this guy making me do? Run all over the place willy-nilly. Okay, cool. So that's another way to control your character, and that's also really useful as well. In certain scenarios where you just want to set a waypoint and ignore the character for the rest of the recording and everything like that. Okay, cool. There's a whole bunch of settings we can get into a little bit later on as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up a different. We're going to talk about a practical real world use scenario where you might use motion director to kind of save time and create some idle motions for your NPCs. So I'm going to go over to my content manager, and there's a pack that I've downloaded from the content store by one of our developers, Next Level 3D. Really cool pack. Highly recommend checking it out. Modern office right here. There's a modern studio as well. There's a loft office, all kinds of cool stuff. I'm just going to load up this modern office. Okay, we don't need to save this, and we're going to populate this scene with a bunch of NPC characters. So when there's kind of like advertisements where people want you to lease out commercial space, for example, in a building, or purchase a new condo that hasn't been built yet. A lot of what people do in those cases is they create marketing material called architectural pre-visualization. So it's just kind of helping the customer to kind of see what the end product is going to be, although it's all virtual. I've done many projects like this personally myself in the past, so it's quite a useful workflow, a skill that's kind of getting more and more in demand, actually. So good skills to learn here. Okay, so we have this scene right here. I'm just going to switch to my preview camera. Pretty cool, good looking scene. We have some walls, which I'm just going to take away the roof from this right here. Let me just go over your scene. We don't need this light blocking volume. Where is our ceiling here? Make sure I'm selecting the right thing. Oops. Oh, ceiling, is this the one? There we go. Okay, so let's take out the ceiling for just make it easier kind of for you guys to see inside the building here. All right, cool. So we got basically a bird's eye view of this. And we're going to explore a couple of the other different techniques you can use with motion director to make your scene look good. Let me just hide those cameras there. They're in the way. We're going to just basically delete them. We don't need them, actually. Okay, so let's bring in our first character. Let's bring in a couple of business people. The first technique I'm going to show you is really cool. You can basically define an area for your character to walk around, and he or she will just walk around randomly and perform random actions, which is pretty cool. You don't need to worry about animating them yourself manually. It's really easy to do. So I'm just going to basically make a little bit of space here and delete a couple of these items here. I don't know what that is. Oh, that's our GI anchor. Let's make that invisible. Okay, cool. So the first thing I'm going to do is bring in a character, of course. We need a character to walk around. So let's go over here to characters, or actors rather. And we have some business actors. Let's bring in a dude that looks like he's on the phone all the time. This bald dude right here. All right. So we'll throw him in there. Now, what this guy's going to be doing, he's going to be basically just kind of walking randomly around. Now, to do that, we need to define a space for him to walk around in. And to do that, I'm going to go up here to create and go to create surface and create plane. You can also create like a floor if you want here as well under primitive shape. Surface plane works just fine though. Okay, you won't be able to see it at first. If we zoom out real quick, there's our surface plane. Now, obviously, we need to scale it to be smaller. So let's press the R hotkey and scale it down to something like this. Press W to move and move it up a little bit like this so we can see it above our plane. Okay. Now, what we want to do here is make sure that it's not going to be colliding with any objects. So let's just go ahead and make it a little bit smaller like this. And maybe scale it a bit more on that side as well. There we go. Okay, so this guy will be walking around this space that we've defined right here, this plane. Now, don't worry, we can delete the plane, or not, we can't delete it, we just can make it invisible later on. But essentially what we want to do is have this guy, we want to load him up with an MD file. So let's go over here to content again into the animations. And I'm going to go down here to motion director. And there's that motion director pack I mentioned before called pedestrian actions. Now, this pedestrian actions pack here does not require an IMD extension. If we go to that and take a look at it, let me go back here. Yes, okay, so this one here is pedestrian actions. All right, you can see tons of really cool actions, walking styles, idle styles. And this is basically what you're seeing here. You can whip this up in like 20 minutes or something like that. You know, basically all you're doing is clicking and dragging and applying stuff, and then you're previewing, you're simulating. And you can get this really easily. It saves so much time, you know, on background characters. It's one of the main reasons why I think motion director is valuable for a lot of people, for a lot of workflows. But you can see down here, we don't require a motion director extension. Okay, so it's just the motion director right here. You just require the main motion director, which is fine. You can see there's 90 IMD datas. Okay, so there's 98 actions altogether, ranging from idles to walks to walking with your cell phone to walking with, I don't know, something like flowers in your hand. I think there's one like that. But anyways, let's apply a couple of these to our characters in the office. I think we have a good amount of time to do this. Okay, so under pedestrian actions, you'll find a number of different subfolders here. You'll find a number of different idles and a number of different walks. Okay, you can see there's quite a few of them, and they're all organized according to a name here. You can see right here, let's make it a little bit bigger so you can kind of see. Okay, slow walk, smartphone walk, et cetera, et cetera. I don't want to take up too much time of my space right there. Okay, so this guy, let's give him like a walking style. Maybe he's talking on the phone slowly, or we can give him a twerking walk. Okay, this is more like a sexy kind of walk. I don't think we want to give this guy a twerking walk, to be honest, but to each their own. There's the male phone talk walk here. Okay, so you can see again in the MD controls, character settings, he doesn't have a IMD applied yet. So we need to go ahead and apply that to him. Let's go to content, walk and talk, yada, yada. All right, and he has that now applied to him. And if we go back to MD controls, boom, now it's green. You can see here, the phone walk talk IMD file is loaded up here, and it's currently the main IMD file. All right, now let's actually just go ahead and connect this first to our plane. Okay, and the way we do that is down under here under control settings. You can see we have an option here to auto in zone. Now, if we select that with our character selected, we click this. We need to select pick, and then I'm going to pick the plane right here. You can see plane zoom. Okay, all good. Now, there's a number of different settings down here as well, these action settings. And these are all context dependent on your IMD. A lot of these will be just, your basic rate, idle, and move, because we don't want the character to be constantly moving. Maybe half the time he's idling, half the time he's moving. And you can set the time that he idles, the time range that he would move. Okay. In this case, maybe he's a little bit stressed out. We want him to be talking on the phone and moving a lot. So let's go over here to maybe constantly moving, or we'll go 75% of the time moving basically. And perform frequency. Perform are these things right here. There's currently no performs on this character, so don't worry about that. Switch speed, we don't really need to switch the speed. There is no switch speed on this one anyways, okay? That would be switching from like stroll to walk like we did before. Switch mode, we don't have a switch mode really. Okay, so basically this character is really simple. It's just a character walking around. He has an idle and he has a move. So this is an idle right here. This is what it looks like. And he has a move where he'll be talking on the phone and moving at the same time. So let's just go ahead and simulate this then. We have the plane selected right there, and go ahead and press start. Oh, let's make sure that we don't have a camera follow. So over to here to camera settings, let's make sure we have free camera, okay? Because we want to keep our current camera perspective here. And we don't need to record the camera, anything like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that and start. So now this guy, he'll walk around. He's like, Johnson, you said you'd have the papers here by 3 o'clock. You know, what's taking so long? So you can see he's just kind of randomly walking around. Obviously, it's kind of a confined space that he's in right now. So you want to maybe try to make that a little bit bigger. You know, and then now he's just idling, right? So like I mentioned, he's going to be idling 25% of the time, and he's going to be moving the other 75% of the time. He should move back into a movement in a couple minutes here, or a couple seconds here. There you go. So again, I'm not doing anything here. I'm just sitting back and drinking my tea and watching this guy animate himself, basically. All right, so stop that. And if we go to macro data, you can see that we've recorded, 57 seconds of macro data. We can delete all the other ones that we don't need. These were other different ones here. Oh, sorry, this is an auto end zone. So make sure that you recognize the name, and that was 40 seconds, okay? So I'm gonna delete all the other ones, control select them and just delete them. And this is the one that we just created. If we want to preview it, see what it looked like. Excuse me. There you go. Okay, so you can preview it again. Cool. So now how do you save this to your character? Well, it's super easy. In macro data, you can just go ahead and create clip. And what that does is that'll create a clip from that macro data that you have selected, and it'll apply that clip to your character's timeline, which is super easy to do. Okay, so there you go. Clip created. Let's press F3 and go into the timeline here. And under our businessman, you can see we have the motion director clip. All right. And we can scrub through our timeline to see the entire thing like this. Oh. I didn't see that part where he started walking over the whatever it is, the chair and the table and all that stuff. Yeah, it's weird. I didn't see that before. Okay. Maybe that was a different preview. Let's give that another shot. Because if that happens, let's just clear everything right now. If that happens, there's actually things that you can do to avoid the character, kind of going beyond where he's supposed to go. And the way you do that is go over here to your settings. And whoops, that's for the character's terrain detection, which is another new feature with Motion Director. It detects the terrain. And we'll talk about that in our last example here. Okay, what you can do here is go to edit behaviors, and in edit behaviors rather, sorry, not edit behaviors. The settings here, where is it? They might have changed it a little bit. Oh, okay. Yeah, so I'm not sure why it kind of decided to just go to the other side there, but that was a little bit weird. But yeah, we can just always, just re-simulate it again. Excuse me. Re-simulate again. So I'm just getting over a cold here, guys. And give that a shot. And hopefully this time he won't be, running into any objects. Okay, so it should be fine. Let's just record, 1,000 or so frames. Oh, there he goes up on the table. Okay, cool. Now you can always just cut that stuff out if you want. Another thing you can do as well, if you don't want to, preview the macro data, let's do this one more time. Let's clear temp and go to character settings. You can actually press record here. If you press record here, it'll live record that to your character's motion track. So that's one thing to consider there. We have snap to surface selected, so that's why it's kind of snapping to the surface right here. If we didn't want that, we can just, get rid of that, for example. And that's why he's also snapping to the plane, which I have slightly above the ground plane, just so we can see it. Now you can always make these adjustments later on as well. Here's the one that I wanted to look at earlier. Just excuse me. There's too many different settings. So I did not the edit behavior settings, but the custom settings for the IMD data right here. Now, if you find that your character is walking off into like, the sunset onto tables and, getting drunk and like it's an office party or something, then you can actually change your turn rate. You can increase your turn rate to degrees per second. And you can increase your responsiveness as well. So if you boost these up like turn rate like this, this is how fast your character can turn. Now, be careful if you put this too high, it can look a little bit jerky. Okay. And basically that's how fast your character can turn. Because basically essentially is what Motion Director is trying to do is it's trying to blend your turn to be more of a smooth turn. And in the course of doing so, with a small confined space like I've defined here, obviously you can't turn on a dime in this kind of confined space. So he'll end up like walking into the wall or walking onto the table and stuff like that. So if you do find that occurring, you can actually go into the settings here for the specific IMD and increase your turn rate per second and increase your turn trigger angle as well. Okay. And then if we go ahead and do that, we'll just record live right now. Make sure we're back at frame 1 here. And then just let's give him a different starting position here as well. Maybe somewhere back here. And then we'll go back to start. Okay. So now he'll be like turning a little bit sharper. I guess he's going to start on the phone again. Got some important stuff to talk about. So now you can see, yeah, the turn angle is a lot sharper. Okay. So like I mentioned, you got to be careful with this because sometimes it can look a little too sharp. So you have to find that kind of nice balance between the turn angle. But at least in this case, he's not going to be jumping over any sort of tables and stuff like that. He's going to be turning on a dime and restricted within his area there. Okay. So now you can see that because we had record selected, it basically put the live clip into our character right here. And he's no longer, climbing on top of the tables. All right. Good enough. All right, so we have this guy, just rambling around doing whatever. The next scenario I'm going to show you is using a path. So let's go ahead and do that. And having our character walk basically up and down along a path. We can actually take that plane and make it invisible in the scene manager. Okay. And then we have a path. Let's create a path along the window here for our other character to walk along. So to create a path, simply go up to create and path. And then click, I'm just going to make maybe 3 points here along the window. Again, you can have as many points as you want, but we're going to make a very simple path and just right click when you're done. Okay, so if I press W and move this up a little bit so we can see it a little bit better. There you go. Okay, there's our path. We might want to get rid of these chairs here just in case our character decides to run into a chair. We're deleting chairs everywhere. Okay, now let's have a character, bring in another character, and we're going to align that character to the path here. So the same pack, I'm going to go to the business pack here. Oh, let's use a female character this time. Bring her in here. Doesn't matter where we bring her in because we're going to constrain her to the path. Okay, let's get a little bit of a closer look at her. Okay, cool. Now in the MD controls this time, we'll just give her, we'll go to content first and apply the IMD, obviously. Back to animation and motion director. Pedestrian actions, I'm going to use a different walking style. Maybe this one can be, let's use the twerking walk. I don't know. Might look cool. So she's just going to be pacing back and forth, twerking back and forth, shall we say. Don't worry, she's not actually twerking. The walk isn't actually a twerk. It's more of like a, we'll say a sensual walk maybe. Okay, so you can see in the MD controls, now we have two characters in the scene. This is our business female. We're going to deactivate the male that we already had because we don't want to simulate again. Also take off record, okay? We're only going to be doing one at a time. You can actually put all your characters on the scene and you can simulate them all at the same time. And it'll, I mean, you could do that basically take 3 minutes putting all your characters on, make sure they're all active, click simulate, boom, you have animation for 5-6 different characters simultaneously. So that's what I'm talking about, like time-saving techniques, because you can literally do it all in like 30 seconds. But we'll do it one by one here. So female character, you can see we have the twerking walk. There's a couple of settings here as well. We don't need to worry too much about the turn rate on this one, maybe a little bit higher. Okay. And let's go ahead then. And what we want to do here is auto on path. Now we also have control on path. And what this does is this allows you to use either your gamepad or your keyboard to move your character along the path. So if you're pressing forward, as long as you're pressing forward, your character will keep walking along the path. If you press backwards, they'll just kind of turn around and walk backwards, but they'll always be constrained to that path. Now, I'm just going to use the auto one here for this case. So auto on path, and it prompts you, of course, to pick a path. So let's go ahead and pick path, and I'm going to pick the path right here. Okay, boom. So we have path selected. The start position, we want to start on the path, obviously. The position we want is 0%, which is the very first point that I placed right here. So what we can do, let's go ahead and just record it, right off the bat. We don't need to worry about the macro data and all that stuff for now. Let's just go ahead and record. Now, again, here, how much time do you want her to be idling? How much time do you want her to be moving? Because there's both an idle and a move here. Okay. It's more like just carrying a person. Yeah. But this is the idle right here. Okay. So again, I want to kind of show more of the movement. So I'm going to go to move. Maybe she'll be idling for a little bit. The idle range, just have a little small idle range from like 0 to 3 seconds or something like that. So the maximum time she'll idle is 3 seconds before she starts moving again. Okay, should be all good to go. There's no performs here again. Let's just go ahead and start. There you go. Social. Oops, we have free camera selected. Let's go ahead and use a follow cam. Camera settings, follow cam. And let's use a bird's eye view, or maybe not. Full shot. What's up? Oh, it's for this guy. Yeah. Make sure you have the right character selected for your camera as well. There's our close-up. Let's see if the bird's eye view works for her. Okay, I think it looks okay. I'll show you how to add a custom camera as well if you want. Let's just go ahead and create camera, linear camera. Okay, and let's set this camera to watch the entire thing. Okay, and so now that we have a camera, we can select it from the view presets. Custom view 1. Oh, we need to set it here. So let's do that. Custom view 1. And set. Okay, cool. So that'll be our camera now. So it'll just kind of follow her, whatever, and start. Okay, so you can see you're just kind of walking along there. Pretty cool stuff. That's her twerking walk. And looks like the plant got in the way there, so she's getting over the plant. This almost looks like kind of like a dancing walk, like the Bee Gees. Just walking along there. Okay, so idling at random times, but the max time she'll idle for is 3 seconds. Okay, going into the wall, unfortunately. So again, if you want to fix that, then what you want to do is just select the last point here. You can select your path, go over here to modify and edit point. Just click on this point here and move it a little bit closer in, so she's not going through the wall there. And then we can just like re-simulate it. Let's do a live recording for the female. Oh, we already did. Okay. So if you have live recording set again, it'll just overwrite the one that you currently have. We have, edit point still selected. So select our character. And if you have record, so right now it basically put a clip in the timeline. If you record over that, you can just delete it if you want, and it'll go back to default. And then you can just re-simulate, or you can just record over top of it. It'll just overwrite it. So, okay. So this time she should not. Goodness gracious, woman, what are you doing? So again, here we'll have to adjust those the IMD controls for that character, and turn rate. Yeah, there you go. Pump those up, and then we shouldn't have this problem anymore. She'll have a bit of a tighter turn again, but we will avoid that issue where she goes through the wall there, or just jumps on top of that plant. I don't know why she keeps doing that. She shouldn't be doing that. Let's have to point a little bit further inwards here. So sometimes it takes a little bit of trial and error, obviously, you can see here. Okay, good. And let's make sure that turn rate is pumped up. Again, the values can vary based on scenario. So it does take a little bit of trial and error in some cases. Third time's a charm. Don't let me down, twerker. Okay, there you go. So she stops right there. And yeah, obviously the turn is a little bit sharp, so you want to avoid that sometimes. But there you go. And yeah, the turn is too fast, maybe. So you can obviously turn down the, I think it's the degrees per second parameter. But there, you can have your character pacing back and forth. And if you want, you could just throw like a coffee cup in her hand or something like that. Okay, nothing too complicated there. Okay, but now we have that clip, and we have two characters animated. I have some time to animate a couple more characters. I'll do one for a sitting character, because there's some sitting idols as well. Let's go ahead and do that. Content. And let's choose another business person. This is useful because you can just essentially put the seated character wherever you want after you've recorded the seating animation. This guy looks like a boss type of dude. All right, so this guy again, the third time, just very simple to do this. Go to animations and throw in one of your IMDs from the pedestrian pack. This time we're going to use idle styles, and this one is talking phone idle. I think there's one for sitting, sit on the phone, sit talk on the phone idle. Okay, so we'll just throw this one in for this character. And again, you can just click and drag it to your character as well. I'm just going to quickly simulate this. MD controls, make sure the other two are not active, and just only this one, record, and we'll just go ahead and start. Oh, again, we have to make sure our camera is set. Let's just free camera again and start. Okay, so he starts off on his phone, and I didn't mess around too much with the other settings, so you can see he starts talking on the phone. Oh, and there's an issue there where he pops up. We can always fix that later on. Don't worry about that. It's because the chair is kind of in the way. He's not sitting actually on the chair. He's kind of sitting on the edge of the chair there. Okay, and don't worry about that. That can always be fixed. Cool. So we did about like 1,500 frames. Now, if we go to the MD behaviors, you can see this character. We should have this character selected. The zoom panel's in the way. We need to make sure we have that character selected right here. There you go. Just needed to refresh it. So this IMD has three different actions, three different random actions: picking up a call. Here he's playing the phone, playing with the phone, playing Candy Crush or something. And here he just kind of sits cross-legged. So he'll do these actions at random times. Okay, you can't trigger these; they're just at random times. But you can kind of determine the randomness on the IMD data settings. So if we go through the timeline like this, there's our character, and he pops up like that. Not a problem in the end, to be honest. What you can do, I mean, the easiest way to resolve this would just be to delete the chair or move the chair away and re-simulate so the chair is not getting in the way. And you can also, if you want, maybe I'll show you quickly the brief way that you can adjust this. So here he's popping up into the sky and popping back down. So in this motion clip, we can just right click on the motion clip, break it, and the part where he comes back down, break it again. This is kind of a quick and dirty way to, and then delete the motion clip in the middle, the clip in the middle that we just kind of isolated out. And then you can just kind of click and drag this and blend it together, and there you go. Okay, good enough. And then of course you can do that with the other one as well. So one more time, right click before the jump, break it. After the jump, break it again. Now you are going to be kind of deleting some animation, but generally when you just blend it together like this, click and drag on the edge of the clip, there you can have it resolved like that. Okay, cool. So now we just have this motion like this, and he'll, be on his phone. Okay, talking. I think he has a very brief conversation. Get on it, Johnson. I don't have all day. That's all he said. And then he just hung up the phone. Back to playing Candy Crush. Okay, so we have that. And of course, ideally you'd want to move the chair into position that better suits his seated position. You can do either or. You can move him into position, or you can move the chair into position. I can take him and, for example, just rotate him using the E hotkey, move him over here. There you go. Okay, cool. So he will stay in that position the entire time. There we go. Okay. And maybe his legs are going a bit through the chair. So you'd want to, again, I don't want to get too detailed on this, but bring his legs up like that. You can even rotate him a little bit backwards into the chair. Now his legs are kind of off the ground, but and make sure you're doing this all at the first frame, by the way, so it'll last throughout the entire clip. And actually, you would want to merge these clips before you do this to have this. Did we select all of them? Right click and select merge clips. There you go. You can only merge two at a time here. Am I pressing shift? Oh. It's so dark here, I can't. There you go. Okay, so again, make sure you merge the clips so that they're all in the and you can see here that I want to maybe put his feet closer to the ground. So to edit it afterwards, you can use the edit motion layer tool. So let's go to modify over here, select our character, edit motion layer, and bring the feet down. There you go. At frame one. So they're not, doesn't look like he's a toddler in his business chair. Take his other heel and bring it down. Okay. And then, position it better. Anyways, that's how you can, modify it afterwards. There's one thing I forgot to do as well. And I want to do this. I'm going to actually do this in the next scenario here, but I'm going to briefly show you MD of two characters talking. Okay, because there are interactive IMDs as well. So let's bring in a couple more characters here. The content and business. Let's just have these ladies in the corner kind of just talking. And I'm going to show you the Digital Soul content pack, which is really useful for just, throwing in some quick and easy animation for your character for their face. So if you find, obviously, if you have scenes that are closer up with your characters, you don't want them to be looking lifeless and not having any emotion on their faces, right? So let's move these characters a little bit further up. So the mesh on the floor mesh is a little bit high. Okay, so we're going to apply a couple of quick talking IMDs to these characters here, and then we'll get to the final scenario. I might go a little bit over time here, so just apologies for that, guys. Okay, back to our IMDs. Idle styles. Yes, this is actually in pedestrian motions as well, pedestrian actions. So there's one talking couples. So we'll supply this one to her. And then there's a talking couples male, I believe. Yeah. And they're just going to be like idling, talking to each other. Whoops, let's have her selected first. Which one are we have selected here? Okay, this one. Yep. Okay, so these characters basically have talking couples idols right here. If we go over to the MD behaviors, there's a chat and a look right. So I'm just going to simulate this for both of them. Let's just disable the other ones. Do a really quick simulation at the first frame here. Oh, dang it. We'll just make this the beginning of our project because I don't want to bother. I don't have time to get to the other stuff. Okay, so we'll just focus on these two ladies here, and we'll simulate them, record them live, just doing some random talking. Okay, now they're not looking at each other, but we can fix that a little bit later on. Now she's looking at her and she's not looking at her. Did I give them? I think I gave them separate. These look like the same IMDs, actually. Let's double check that. Yeah, they both have the same IMD. Dang it. Okay, let's select this character and give her the other one. So obviously you don't want them to be doing that in unison. So male's talking, couple idle. There you go. Give her this male one, because that's going to be a little bit different. And then let's simulate again. There you go. Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be like. So right now they're just looks like they're just idling and she's looking away. So again, these kind of IMD motions, IMDs are used just for kind of often used for like background characters, NPC characters that you don't really care what they're doing. This guy's getting in our way here. He has no concept of personal space, this guy. Okay, so there you go. They're starting to gesture and everything like that, and then go ahead and stop. Now, a couple things you can do just really quickly to add on to this to make it a little bit better. Have the characters look at each other. So if I select this female character here, and I go to modify, under attributes on the top here, there is an option to look at pick target and pick her head. And you can have it more focused, like her eyes are looking at her or her head is looking at her, the strength right here. This is a pretty basic concept in iClone. So we'll do the same thing for the female character over here and have her more looking at with the eyes. Now, obviously, it kind of looks like a little bit weird because they're just, looking like gesturing, but they're not really talking or anything like that, or they're not really, their mouths aren't moving. And that's where these digital soul, this digital soul pack comes in handy. And if we go to motions right here under packs, if we type in a digital soul, I believe I have it installed. Digital soul under animation. There you go, digital soul. There's a whole number of different animations here. There's expressions. If you want our expression, digital soul. There's different categories here. I'm just going to close my timeline down for now. And there's ones that are for talk, just this, for reading, for thinking. Okay, so if your character's, thinking on the bench or something, like this guy, you can have him have a very absent-minded talk, or he's maybe scheming or something. But for our female character here, let's just go ahead and give her a talk, maybe a talking happy. She's pretty happy. Okay, and if you press F3 and go into the timeline, oops, that's F2, F3, you'll see under the female character, under the expression track, it creates a talk happy clip right there, which you can loop, but it's already pretty much looped. So you can see here, her mouth starts moving now. So it looks like she's actually talking, but she's not saying anything, obviously, because what background NPCs are saying is not important at all. But it gives her some smile, like on her face, and also some talking. Okay, there you go. And you can do the same thing for the other character. We'll just do one more, and then we'll move on to the last scenario, and we'll do that in about 5-10 minutes. So talking, okay, maybe this one here, talking confident. There you go. Okay, so now she gets a confident look on her face. She has that confident look in her eyes. And of course, we'd probably want to put a cup of coffee in her hand, so it looks like she's not just doing weird stuff. You can also puppet her hand and do all sorts of other cool stuff. Okay, cool. So in this last scenario, we're going to have a little bit of a battle. It's going to be a battle between a Marine and a bunch of Roman soldiers. And we're going to use the final follow concept in our technique in Motion Director. So I'm just going to go to my content, custom, projects. And I have this one saved here. Excuse me. And these are also actor core characters that are from a different content pack, like a Roman War content pack. I'm not sure which one it is. But what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to bring my character back here, way back here, and have my character run. And we're going to have some other characters follow him. Now, what I can do here is, let's go ahead and give this character athletic IMD. Okay, so content, motions, animations rather, motion director extension. Oops. Oh, we're in the custom tab. Make sure you're not in the custom tab. And under animations, here we go, athletic run. So if you try to apply that, no go, because this is an extension. Again, you need to apply your basic one first. So animation, there we go. Motion director, male, casual, all. Again, you can just apply this only the athletic run IMD, but if you apply casual all, you can also apply the athletic extension, and you can use them both at the same time, which I'll show you here in just a moment. Once this loads up, come on, there we go. Okay, so now we have over to the MD behaviors, we have the casual, and there's the athletic. There's an option here. You can see it's grayed out right now, but if we want, we can also throw in that extension. Okay. So now it allows us to add on that extension. And what would happen now is I can move my character around, and it has the option to stroll, walk, jog, and run and dash as well. Okay, so basically the extensions just kind of add on additional things. So you can see here, athletic, we have the run and the dash. Okay, so different performs. Again, you can ask me more questions about this later. Let's just go ahead and simulate MD controls assigned. Okay, good enough. And we want to follow the camera on this guy. So follow cam. And let's set the key view to full shot. There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and press start. And it popped into this. Oh, because we set the default camera to, goodness gracious. We set the default camera to this one, full shot, and then press start. Okay, now we're good to go. So now we can have our character run forward. Now, if we open up our MD triggers, and I can click this one here, then it'll switch to athletic. Okay, I can switch back and forth from athletic to casual, and they include all of their other things. Now, the cool thing about Motion Director now is it has terrain detection. So you can see we can move up to terrain here. We can have our character run along the terrain. Pretty cool. Whoops, where did he go? Oh, there he goes. Okay. So before, when Motion Director first came out, it didn't have terrain detection. So now it does, which is pretty cool. Okay, so let's just go ahead and generate some recording maybe of this character running up and down the hill or running around the mountains, whatever. Okay, so he's going to be like, where should I go? And then we're going to switch to athletic mode. He's like, I know where I got to go. Bam. And then he comes up here. He's like, I got to climb the mountain. Oh, this way, this way. And then we'll go down here. And we're going to run off into the distance. Okay, so that's about 1500 frames. Good enough. Okay, cool. So stop. And then we have that recorded in a timeline. Now, what I'm going to do next is have a couple of characters that are going to be following this guy. So let's throw them in from the content manager here. What is it called again? Game historical. Okay, so we have Julius Caesar up there. Let's have a couple of soldiers following him. So we'll throw them a little bit further behind him. So one of the coolest things in Motion Director is the ability to have your characters automatically follow an object that you've animated. Whoops. So let's have these guys a little bit further behind him. And if you hold the control key and click and drag, you can just duplicate a character, by the way. Okay, cool. So let's assign these guys MD controls. Let's just go ahead and give him the athletic run. Sure, we'll just give the athletic average one to him. And same thing to the other guy. And then we'll simply have them follow him around. Now, there's a couple of other parameters that you can set for like how close your character follows the other character or other object, how much of a time delay there is. But we'll get into that a little bit. Once these apply, then we can make sure that we set the controls to follow. And it's quite easy to do. In the MD controls, you can see they're both selected right now. What you want to do is use this one here, which is follow object. Okay, you can follow characters. So click on follow object and then pick your character. Okay, Julius Caesar. Same thing for this guy. Follow, pick, and then follow Caesar. All right. Now, again, of course, there's the options here, the control settings here. So this is like, climb, light, and fall. This is more for like, when you're going up or falling down a cliff or something like that, you can set the limits on that. We have a tutorial that goes into more detail on that, to be honest. And this one right here, IMD data settings. And here's where you want to, you can set the initial speed to run or dash. I'll just set it to run, for example, in this case here. Okay. And then down here, these are the important ones. You can have your characters look at the character or look at the object. Okay. If you do that, then they'll end up looking at it. Now, this one will have him a little bit to the left of the character or left of Caesar. And this guy will have him a little bit to the right of Caesar. Position offset, we don't want them to follow right away. So maybe he's about 45, maybe half a meter behind. Okay. And this guy will be, maybe he's a little bit of a dullard or a slowpoke. So he'll just be a little bit more behind. And then let's go ahead and simulate this. We don't want to record Caesar this time. Okay, we'll just record the other two guys. And go ahead and give that a start. Oh, let's just make sure we can see it with our camera here. Always forget to change the cameras. Free camera. Okay. And we'll just do a bird's eye view. Okay. This should give us a good overview of what's going on here. Okay, so they're following him. At first he wasn't running fast enough. So now they're going to follow him up and down the mountain. Okay, he goes over there. They're going off screen. Unfortunately, I can't move the camera at this point, but he'll come down over here. We just need some Benny Hill music here. Okay, probably get a better camera view next time. But we recorded that, so we can go ahead and take a look from here. And there you go. Runs up the hill. Let me play back here. Over here. He's like, you're going too fast, wait up. Because they're restricted to only the run, right? And he's dashing. Okay, so they're going to be stuck a little bit further behind him. There you go. But you can see they're kind of just running behind him. He's leading them on a wild goose chase. Okay, now one final thing I wanted to do that I forgot to do earlier on is how you can edit your motion director motion and combine it with the edit motion layer tool. So the way you can do that is really cool. It's really simple and easy. I'm going to go ahead and bring in a new character. This one is a military character. Let's go to, what is it here? Uniform. There we go. Okay. So let's bring in this dude right here wearing a uniform. And we're going to just create a very simple walk. Okay. Towards the camera. I'm actually going to get rid of the other characters because they're going to be really distracting running around. I originally was going to have them face off, but we'll just focus on this one guy for simplicity's sake. Okay, let's actually maybe have him walk this way towards the sunset. Okay, cool. So again, I'm just going to give him a simple MD, IMD rather, which is going to be the walk, the male, casual, all, that's fine. And we'll just have him walk towards the screen. And then we're going to basically load him up with a gun. And I'm going to show you how you can use reach target to have the character hold the gun and, make it look like instead of just walking, you're customizing your motion director motion into having him actually holding a gun while he's walking. So it'll be pretty cool. In just a moment, once this processes, where are we? Okay. So let's just go ahead and use our normal walk. Okay. And we can use waypoints like with our mouse, like I showed earlier, which is really simple. So let's just simulate this. We don't need a follow camera. Bird's eye view. Okay, cool. Character settings. We'll record it and start. Okay, so casual walk. Let's push shift to maybe, no, let's just control, have a casual walk, and then hold alt and left click over here. Okay, so our character is going to walk towards the screen. And boom, that's all we have there. Okay, good enough. And that's all we need. So if we press F3 and go into our timeline, you'll see we have that clip, motion director clip right here. And we can even create a camera. I probably should have used a follow cam with motion director for this, but if you want to manually create a follow cam, you can do so. Just do this. And the easiest way is to just have, let's focus on our character like this maybe, and have the camera, make sure you have the camera selected, and you can have the camera look at pick target. Cool. No, let's not do that. Let's set free. So with the camera selected, we can actually link the camera to the character. So pick parent and pick the waist. Now, if we do this, the camera will be shaking around like this according to our character's waist. So we need to go back into here, and instead of selecting waist, we link it to our character's bone root. Okie dokes. And then it's like this, okay? There's better ways to do this, but base hip. Okay. Bone root, yeah, base hip is the one where it'll kind of tilt like this. Let's just go ahead and do that one more time and create a follow cam. Actually, you know what? We'll worry about the camera stuff a little bit later on. Let's first of all focus on getting our character into the pose that we want it to be in. I'm going to press F3, go into the timeline, and I'm going to move this clip a little bit further on, just for now, just temporarily. And I'm going to apply a idle motion to our character, which can be found under motions. And I think it's called rifle idle or something. Yeah, okay, so here's a motion where the character is just kind of walking with a rifle, okay, like this. You can see right there. I don't know what happened to his arm there, but oh my goodness. Let's try this one. Let's try a little bit of a bug there. Okay, all we really need is just that one. Okay, why is his arm doing that? Let's try a different character. All right, that was weird. Never happened to before. Okay, well, maybe this female character has an arm that's less messed up. Okay, animation rifle. Okay. This is really weird. It never happened before, swear to God. Okay. Well, Let's see if we can actually maybe just fix that randomly. Maybe it's just something in the edit motion layer tool that's twisting. I'm not sure why it's doing that. It is the weirdest dang thing I've ever seen. All right. Well, let's put him into that position manually then. I'm not sure why that motion is all weird looking. I'll put him into it manually. Sorry about the delay here, guys. Because I want to show you this reach target. Oh, wow. Okay. There's some kind of bug happening here for sure, because even manually it's not. All right. Well, you know what? I was going to show reach target, but essentially what you want to do is you want to copy the pose and paste it. Just pretend. I'm just going to Control Z this here a couple times. Get back to our where our character actually had an animation. Basically, you can copy and paste the poses. So let's make sure we go back to where our character had the walking animation. Oh man, everything's going fiddle faddle foo. You know what? I will get to the Q&A right now because we're way over time, about 15 minutes over time. And I'll get to the Q&A. And while I'm answering the questions, if there's questions that don't require me to be actively using iClone, then I will do that in the background while I'm talking with you guys. Okay, so apologies for that, guys. I'm going to just throw in the character and we'll get to the Q&A. So if you have any questions, please put your questions into the Q&A panel and I will answer those for you. And we'll get started on that right now. So a couple things in the chat window here. Okay, I'll get to that in just a moment. Yeah, make sure you guys put your questions in the Q&A window, not the chat window, because I'll be answering questions from Q&A there. And the first one is, Terry Morris says, what if the camera settings are grayed out? You shouldn't have the camera settings grayed out. Let me just briefly look into that. Maybe I'll get lucky and encounter a bug. This is pretty cool. So if I go to the character and empty controls, you shouldn't have the camera settings grayed out at all. Free camera, follow camera. Make sure if you record to camera, it'll enable this. Okay, so I don't see why your camera settings, anything should be grayed out. Full shot. Holy smokeroonies. Let's have this character back on the top there. Why is he below the... Let's put him back on the thing. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe Terry, you can give me a little bit more detail about why the scenario, like a little bit of context in the scenario, because your camera settings should not be blanked out at all. And if you encounter a situation like this, by the way, guys, where the mesh is kind of just messing around a little bit, you see the character has like, this is because this mesh may have some weird, extrusion of the mesh, which you can't see. And in that case, you may just want to go ahead and to the top here and just take off your foot contact and take off your hand contact as well. Okay. Generally, if you're going on, on terrain like the mountains I was showing you earlier, you want to have foot contact and hand contact on, obviously, for the feet to track where the terrain mesh is. But in this case, some mystery mesh decided to appear, so you don't want to do that. Yeah, so maybe Terry, you can give me a bit more detail about the context of that. Okay, question from Nana. Once a motion director file has been recorded, is it possible to edit any part of the movements in the curve editor? If so, please demo. Yeah, that's basically what I'm kind of trying to do right now here. So after you've recorded, let's record a simple walk. Now, once I get down to it, Camera settings, so the follow cam. Let's have the follow cam full shot, set default. Okay, this should work. Record to camera. Okay. Where's our camera? Okay. Hopefully this works. Let's just, do we have a, oh. Let's disable this guy, this female character. We'll just apply a basic female walk. Okay. And then have our character walk towards the screen. Yeah, to answer your question briefly, Nana, yes, you can use, Curve Editor. You can do all sorts of editing afterwards after you've recorded your motion clip. So if I go ahead and do this, like, we need to have our controls set. Camera setting. Camera. Yeah, create new camera here. And not sure why our character is not moving. Goodness gracious. Oh, because we have this character select. Goodness gracious. Okay, where's this character? Okay, sorry guys, I'm really going to give you a good example here, but we need to find the animation motion again here. Stuff always happens when you're doing live demos. We can actually just automatically play it. Should apply. Yeah, okay. All right, we're getting to the point here. And we'll have a cool character carrying a rifle animation by the end of this Q&A here. Okay. All right. Looks like a little bit of a sassy soldier walk, to be honest, but we'll work with it. Record maybe 1,000 frames of it and then stop. Okay, cool. All right. So there you can see our MD camera right here, MD camera 0. We switch to that in the this is what it's going to do. Okay. Maybe it's this one here. Yeah, this one here. Anyways, it should follow the character with the follow cam. I'm just going to preview right now, and we're not going to worry about the cameras for now. To your question, Nana, to modify the motions that you have in that's saved on your character. This one here, I didn't record that, so I need to have the macro data, which was 18, 21, this one here. Okay, so create clip for this one here on this character. Okay, cool. And we need to make sure we have it taken back further to the beginning of our project. There. All right, guys, we've accomplished having our character walk forward like this. So, I mean, to modify the character, and again, it looks like we're having that weird kind of arm twisty issue. So apologies for that. It's kind of messing everything up here. But to modify your character, you can use like the edit keyframe, or rather edit motion layer tool right here. Okay, like I was trying to do earlier. Say, for example, right here, we can just make sure we press reset to give it a starting motion. And then from here, we can have our character slowly raise her hands. Okay. And this is definitely a weird kind of squid arm type bug thing here. So apologies for that, guys, but just kind of going to show you the concept anyways. Okay, so we just created like, 2 random key edits. Okay, it's going to look really weird, but so from there to there, she's going to start slowly raising her hands. And, depending on how long you wanted that hand raise to be, you can see all the keyframes down here for the leg, for the arm, for the torso, and everything like that. So it created an absolute keyframe. what I can do is just go ahead and in the main motion layer track, and right click and select transition curve. And you can basically create a transition curve between those two. You can use the curve editor as well for these things. So I don't think the curve editor, did I install it? It should automatically be installed, but curve editor, there we go. Okay, so again, very, very simple, modification in the curve editor right here. Oh, that's just the transform position. We don't want to modify that. Anyways, you can do it. I don't want to kind of show you an example because it's already like messed up looking. Okay, so apologies again for that, guys. It's not going to look good in the end anyways, but that's how you can just, modify, make those changes using the edit motion layer tool, and then further modify them using the curve editor. Okay. Yeah, so I don't want to go into too much detail on that because it's going to look weird anyways. So don't want to spend demo time making things look weird. Okay, next question from Rosemary. I want to make my characters walk backwards. For example, someone bumps into someone else while walking forward and they turn to say sorry, but continue to walk forward for a bit longer because they want to continue to look at the person. My characters walk backwards. I'm trying to picture this scenario in my head here. If they bump into someone while walking forward and they turn to say sorry. Oh, yeah. So Rosemary, that's a kind of maybe more of a complex animation scenario. I'm not kind of entirely clear because it's kind of like, you can make your character walk backwards really easily. Just walking backwards, but what you're describing there actually takes some custom animation work, and you would have to use the edit motion layer tool, which I'm using right here, obviously to have your characters look back at each other. You'd have to add some custom keyframes like I was doing there. It would be a lot more complicated than just these two custom keyframes there, but what you would do is obviously, it looks like they would bump into the person and then they would stop and turn back a little bit, but then continue to walk backwards. Yeah, it's all I can tell you, because the scenario is a little bit complex. It would require custom keyframe animation. The easiest way, literally, to do that would basically be just to get like a Rococo suit, like for motion capture, Rococo, or else Noitum suit. These basically are the less expensive options for motion capture. You can get these suits within $2,000 or $3,000 depending on the type of suit you want. But yeah, something like that. You could probably slave away for, I'd say, like it would take me like maybe a couple hours to do an animation like that. But you can also start with the motion capture, and it would be a lot easier just to fix it. Doing that with the motion director tool, yeah, you could also do it with the motion director tool as well. If you don't have a motion capture outfit, the motion director tool, you could do a very similar scenario to what you're describing there, just using the motion director tool, like I mentioned before. At least with the motion director tool, you have the base motions, which you can then edit later on using the edit motion layer tool. Hopefully that answers your question slightly, but there's no easy one road solution for that. It'll be a custom animation for sure. Another question from Rosemary: if we add digital soul with two characters talking to each other, is the talking automatic, or does it need to be set up so it doesn't look like they're talking at the same time? So the example I showed, I just quickly threw the digital soul talking animations in there. If you don't want them to be talking, or if you want to customize the timing of their talking, then you need to use the technique that I showed earlier, where you break the clip. And only this time you're not breaking the motion clip, you're going to be breaking the expression clip. So the expression clip is for your character's face, for your facial expressions and all that stuff. So anytime where the character is talking, you can cut that out, or you can cut that part of the clip out and you can paste it somewhere else where you want the character to be talking, and just blend it together. Honestly, breaking clips and blending them together is the quintessential technique to learn in iClone, because it's just so easy to do, And you can accomplish so much just with a few clicks and a little bit of blending. Like I showed you with the guy seated on the chair there, he popped up. I just cut that out, blended in the other two parts. That's like the quintessential iClone technique to learn, to be honest. It's yeah. Well, I don't know what else I can say about that, but yeah, you can do the same thing with the talking as well. And Rosemary also asks, can we change the order of the actions to mix and match more flexibly? Yeah, absolutely you can. Now keep in mind that the actions basically the actions that you create on your character when the character is recording, they're going to record in that order. So let's just go ahead and clear the temp here. Maybe it's because there's too much stuff here that it was just I'm going to just actually start a new project. Maybe there's some bug with the arms that's bothering me there. Yeah, the actions will basically be recorded in a sequence. Motion Director allows you to just record those actions live in real time. So say, for example, we have just our female character here. Let's take her business, this character. We'll use her as a couple examples while I'm running through this. So again, I can go to the animations. I'm going to load up the basic Motion Director female. Okay, we'll just give her that casual all female. And then we'll throw on the athletic run extension, so she has more options. And you basically just record those in sequence. All right, hurry up there, Shecky. All right. There we go. Oh. Something is oddly, okay, well, we're gonna work with the casual right now. That should allow us to apply, but I'm not sure why. Okay, so again, back to the basics here for your MD controls. Start your mode right here. The character has applied, record, and start. So there we go. Now, this character I don't think has any. Okay, so there's a jump, press 1 to jump. Okay, there's a little jump. When she's done that, then tidy up. So they record basically in the sequence that you activate them. So another jump, okay, and then tidy up, and then never stop moving like this. And there's a jump in place too. Okay, so if they're idling, there's a different jump. You can see it's context dependent there. All right, cool. So then we recorded that. If you wanted them to be, and the thing is, you don't really want to mess with, just because your character is changing position on the screen. If, say, for example, I'm like, oh, hey, I wanted to have that the tidy up before the jump. So here she jumps right here. Okay, right there. And say, I wanted to tidy up before the jump. Okay, so this jump part, if I tried to cut it out of my clip like this, break, and then after she's done, break again. And then when she's tidying up, or when she's flicking her hair or whatever, this part here, then yeah, what I'm doing right now is something that you wouldn't want to do. It's just super annoying. Like, if I came into this situation, I would just go ahead and re-simulate the entire thing over again. Like, I would just take this here and like, it may seem like you'd be able to do this, but actually your transform positions are going to be like, she'll pop up like that. So yeah, it's not going to work. She'll go back like that. You can see the problem right away. So your character will be going back and forth, and the root position will be changing according to the beginning of each individual clip. Yeah, not a technique you'd want to follow. I just wanted to show you kind of like maybe the bad practice for doing that. Just record it over again, simulate it over again. That would be my advice. Okay, can we get characters walking side by side while talking? Yes, you can, basically. If you wanted to have two characters side by side talking, just have what I would do is I would have one character walk and then I would have the other character follow them. So that's actually a good scenario to explore a little bit more. I'll show you how I would do that. Let's bring in this character here and put her beside her friend over here. So I would probably use the follow for that one. Okay. So just have our character walk forward. Let's just have a quick simulation with this character. And record and start. And let's just put a waypoint over here. Okay, so it almost looks like it's like a gangster walk or something, like this bouncing back and forth. Okay, so we have that. We have that recorded to our character. Not sure how many frames it is, how far in the distance she's going. I made it pretty far. Anyway, okay, we'll stop there. Okay, but now she has this clip. We'll actually bring the clip to the beginning here just for simplicity's sake. So walking over like that. Let's make sure this character is walking beside her. And let's just remove, oops, object animation. There we go. And assign the same one to her. So I think we assigned the, which did we assign to her? We'd actually probably want to give them different styles too. So I'm going to give her a walking style of female slow walk or normal walk. Let's just do the normal walk there. Okay, and then basically what I would do is I would have her follow the other character, but I would have her follow like right next to her. So again, using the follow, pick, and then pick this character. And so she's following that character. Whoops, sorry. Want to record her, not the original one. Okay, so she has normal walk. Matching speed. Okay, cool. Let's make sure we're good there as well. And then down here, horizontal offset, it's going to be maybe a little bit to the right. Okay, and the position and time offset is going to be 0. Okay, because we wanted to follow along really well. Now I haven't trialed this yet, but this should be okay. So what she'll do is she'll follow that character. Okay, so you can see she's following right along, right beside her, basically. Okay, and I'd probably want to take away the idle. She's pausing at times just because there's a speed disparity. Okay, so you'd probably want to change the speed disparity a little bit. What you could even do is have the time offset by like 1 second, like this, and then re-simulate it. That way she wouldn't be stopping in the middle of her walking. At least hopefully not. Okay, so right now it looks like she's walking a little bit further behind. We can always fix that later on. Okay, so let's have maybe 1,500 frames of them, walking together. Okay, stop. Okay, so now if we go to the top, it'll look like this. I've just pressed the G hotkey, by the way, to go to the top there. It'll look like this. Okay, but what we can do is we can actually just move the character's position or the timing of the clip to be higher up. So like right here, she starts moving about here. So just right click, break that clip and delete the first part and move the first clip over here. So, oh, did we delete the wrong one? I think we did. Yes, we did that. We deleted the clip for this character. Okay, that's good. So let's just make sure we have this character selected instead. And she starts walking right here. Okay, there we go. So that's what I would do. And now they should be walking beside each other. Oh, she doesn't start until later. So when does she start walking here? There you go. It's basically just aligning the two characters together. So now they're walking side by side, you know, slightly different walking styles. Okay. And what you would do then is you would have them look at each other at various points. So let's go to here, maybe just like at our beginning. I'd have this character look at her friend. Can we use that before? No, not look at camera. And maybe use more eye weight as opposed to head weight. Okay, and vice versa. And a little bit less, more eye weight. Now, again, you wouldn't want them to be too much in unison. Okay, so right now they're kind of walking along. They'll be looking at each other like this. Okay. And maybe at random points, you'd want to release the look at. Okay, and the way you can do that is just like over here, just pick target. And then here, maybe set free. Okay, and so she'll no longer start looking at her. So from here to here, she'll look at her friend. Blonde girl's looking at her friend. Okay, and then from here to here, she'll look forward. Okay, she won't be looking at her anymore. Okay, and then you can just copy and paste those frames. And the look at constraints you can find under your character in the constraint track. So you can copy those keyframes and copy them and paste them later on, just to repeat the same kind of process. So then she'll start looking at her friend again. From here to here, she'll slowly start looking again, and then she'll stop from here to here. Okay, and then again, it's all just a matter of basically applying the digital soul animations to the characters. So, like I showed earlier, not motion director. Let's just go to motion and digital soul. Oops, digital pack. There we go. So it would be the talking ones again. Whoops. So she'd be talking here, blah, blah, blah. And then maybe she starts talking here. Okay, so then if we have this, we just play it back, we'll see something like this. So the black girl is talking right now, and the other girl's listening, and then the other girl's talking right now. So that's essentially what I would do for that scenario. And you know, if you can do it a lot faster if you're not explaining things, but let's go to the next question anyway. Sorry about that, guys. Can we use motion director on our own characters, or does it only work with actor core characters? Good question. You can use it with any character that has humanoid in the character type. For those of you who may be using AccuRig, you can use motion director with that as well. So that'll be in character creator. You can see humanoid character type on the top there. As long as it has an iClone like a character creator rig, then it's fine, which all AccuRig characters do. Question from Rajan. Is there a way to make the characters avoid while walking on a path or like a plane, like a collision detection? No, but that's the next thing we have in store for motion director. So we do, the first thing we just incorporated right now was the terrain collision detection. So we will have the object detection a little bit later on. We're currently working on that right now. So that's a good question. For those of you who are curious, we will have the ability for the character to just kind of bump into a table and go the other direction as opposed to jumping on top of the table. All right, very good question. So Terry asks, lots of great info. How soon will this video be posted so we can watch it over at our leisure? Yeah, we'll be posting this video almost immediately after today's webinar on our YouTube channel. So if I, went through something too fast or you want to review it, you'll always be able to find it on our YouTube channel. And again, apologies for the weird twisty arm thing, because I wanted to show you a cool scenario, but that didn't work out. Okay, so Terry, you figured out the camera issue. Good. Okay. Question from Abigail. The control and shift shortcuts to increase or decrease the character speed don't work. How do I fix this? Thanks in advance. So good question, Abigail. Most likely the reason for that is the current IMDs that you have loaded do not support the different speeds. So like, for example, if I just apply a single IMD to the character, let's go back here to motion director, female. We don't need to worry about that. Let's just remove this animation. We'll move this from her as well, just to avoid any sort of distraction here. So this IMD right here, for example, casual all, and the F stands for female. Casual all basically contains stroll and walk. Okay, now if I double click on casual all, it's going to apply that to my character. Likely what you did is you only applied casual stroll or you only applied casual walk. However, if you apply casual all, the IMD actually contains both speeds, the casual walk and the casual stroll. So I know that can be a bit confusing, but I'll go to the MD behaviors here, and you can see there's stroll and there's walk. Okay, so the main IMD is casual right here. All right, there's also normal walk here, okay, that we already applied to her earlier. And this doesn't have any different speeds. This only has one speed. However, if we go to casual all, you can see this one has two speeds, stroll and walk, which you can trigger with the 1 and 2 hotkeys here. Or so those are the jump and tidy up. You can trigger those with the shift and control, like I mentioned. So MD controls here. Again, let's make sure, let's do a simple follow camera here. Okay, no, not that character, this character. Let's just do a full shot. There we go. Okay, and we can record to camera. Main character, there we go, it doesn't matter. Let's just do this, start. Okay, so now you can see we have two, when you see two speed levels right here. Okay. Press Control and Shift. Oops, I think we selected the wrong. Goodness gracious, record. Oh, she said her control set to follow. That's why. Make sure you have it set to game control here. All right, let's get back into it. See, there's a lot of stuff you need to double check before you get started here. So again, control, take it down even further, shift. Okay, control and shift. Now, if I only had one selected, like normal walk, for example, if I choose normal walk here, and I preview that, notice that I only have one speed level. Okay, so it's only just normal walk. Right, and if I went back and only applied, for example, casual walk, for example, to that character, that should not replace the casual all. It should actually add it as a different option. Let's see that in just a moment. Okay, so if we have only casual walk selected and we try and simulate, notice that now it only has one single speed. Okay. So just be aware of which IMDs you're choosing and how many levels of speed they have, which are stored right here. Under the MD behaviors, you'll see them right here. And if we go to the triggers, you can see them right here. So now if we switch over to casual all, so you can see the speed level goes to 2. Normal walk just goes to 1. Casual walk, just 1. Casual all, 2. All right. Hopefully that's clear for you there. Q&A. Nana asks, unrelated to the webinar, but I'm curious on how some of the handheld camera work is done in Unreal Engine, which looks so natural and often shown in Unreal demos. In terms of handheld camera work, there's actually some plugins you can use that are really cool Python plugins you can find in the marketplace that actually simulate that. A lot of them are done through plugins. I mean, you can have your camera linked to a character and attached to a character through different dummies and stuff like that. But that can, be a little bit inconsistent sometimes, I find. But I'll show you some really cool. There's a really cool plugin actually. I don't have it installed on this computer, I don't think. Nope. Sorry, script. Yeah, let's not do that right now, but I can show you where it is in the marketplace. If we go to our marketplace from our main page here, there we go, marketplace. You'll find a number of different plugins for iClone under plugins right here. And one of them is the this Big Boss Easy Cam Controller plugin is pretty good. This is one that I can recommend. You can see there's a Shaky Cam Plus. You may want to explore this one. So this one might be ideal for what you're looking at. Okay, so 750 DA points is just like $7 US, $7.50 US. And there's another one here that's free as well. The camera autofocus is pretty good. But these are basically just plugins people have created with Python. Here's a smooth camera follow. This one's really good. And this one's free. This one's from Reallusion. This one is good for the shaky cam follow. You can kind of create shakiness with it as well. But yeah, explore these plugins, and there's tutorials on how to install those plugins. There's a few ones here, like move that camera as well. Yeah, make sure you just check these out. They're either free or very cheap, so I highly recommend that. Okay, Carson asks, can we purchase or get the motion director gray backgrounds? Oh, maybe you're talking about the demo projects that I used. I think, because gray background is nothing special. Maybe you're talking about the nondescript projects that I was showing a little bit later, or a little bit earlier, which are these ones. I think these ones are actually included if in the content manager. Let me just double check that before I put my foot in my mouth here. Yeah, so motion director, you'll find these ones right here under projects. Motion director, maybe these are the ones you're talking about. These ones just demo all of the features, but the ones that I grayed out, those ones are, or the ones that I have with the gray backgrounds, these are just kind of used for commercialization purposes for our art department. These are the projects for when we generated the commercialization videos. They're not available, but I don't think there should be a problem. If you guys want me to send any of these projects to you, you may experience watermarks. That's the word for it. You may experience watermarks just because you don't have all the content purchased from the scenes. But yeah, I'm sure we'd be happy to send those out to you guys if you want to take a look at these projects. Again, they're basically just the same as these projects. Actually, the embedded projects are probably better. But yeah, if you want to take a look, then feel free to reach out to us for sure. Daniel Becerra asks, in CC4 for morphs, can I use a morph only for specific parts of the body? I was using a stylized morph, but only want the upper body morph, not the head and the legs. Yeah, absolutely you can. There should not be a problem for that. Daniel, I won't open up CC4 and get into morphs right now, but yes, you certainly can do that. You can have a morph for only specific parts of the body. It's just a matter of importing it. I think in our learning center, we have, or rather our Reallusion courses page, we call it now. We have a tutorial on creating your own morphs. You can probably find it by going to iClone. Oh, we have a lot of tutorials here. Too many tutorials I've done over the years. What would it be? It'd probably be under motion editing, or no, this is, sorry, we're talking about character creator for morphs. So it would be modeling and skeleton. That's where it would be here. Probably. Oh, these are all like newer ones. Facial feature morphing. No, that's not a one. I don't want to go into try and find it out right now because it's kind of caught me off guard, this question, but it's in here somewhere. Character creator. You'll find it a morphing one. I thought it would be under modeling and skeleton, but possibly also under characterize. No. Sorry about that. I'm not going to just go through all of it. It'll be there somewhere. You could probably just search for it, like search for morph or whatever on there. But yeah, there's a tutorial there, Daniel, that kind of walks you through that process. So Carson mentions you're having problems with the hands in your presentation. Check if the hand control is on with the avatars. Yeah, that was the weirdest glitch because that's never happened. I literally just messed around right before the webinar and my character animations were totally fine, but you know, that's what happens during live demos is things always mess up. So apologies for that, guys. Last question from Carson. When I make a purchase, how quickly should it be available? It has not been instant. Sometimes it's a day later. Well, it should be instant. It's just a digital transfer. I'm not sure why, Carson, you'd be having an issue with that. It should appear, you know, within at least an hour or two on your account. So make sure that you refresh your content manager and make sure that you know, everything's up to date. So in your content manager, you can always go here, just select refresh. Okay. And that'll make sure that all of your licensing stuff is updated. Any purchases you just made would normally appear under, where are we here? Newly purchased items or new purchases. Okay. Recent downloads as well. Okay, so I recently downloaded these, but new purchases should appear here. And if you don't think anything, just refresh it and it'll prepare and refresh there. So that's really a weird thing. Oh, okay. So they showed up immediately. Okay, good. Kind of confused as to why they would be, because it's not like it takes the digital goods. It doesn't take them any time to transfer from one person to another. So, okay. Next question here is from Bernardo. Sorry if this has been answered, but is it possible to add our custom animations to Motion Director and transition blending between them in real time? Unfortunately, no, Bernardo, but we are actually working really hard on trying to incorporate that into Motion Director. So you'll be able to basically create your own IMD files, your own custom IMDs, and have the blending and everything between those. We are working on that right now. So we are working to make Motion Director better. Again, this is the very first version of Motion Director, just launched a few months ago. So it might still be a little bit buggy. There may be a few things that need to be worked out, but we are definitely working on improving it with every update. Okay, so I think, Rajana, I answered your question there about walking into each other, walking into people. Yeah. So this one is from half an hour ago. Okay. Franks mentions here, does the walk adjust for high heels? Yeah, it does. As long as you set your high heel heights correct in Character Creator, the walk will adjust for high heels, no problem. And I won't go into Character Creator and talk about that, but there is a specific high heel option that you can select if your character's mesh has high heels. Okay, Abigail mentions here, at the end of the walk, the character goes forward more than it should, as if it were an offset. How can I fix it? I mean, the easiest way to fix things like that often is just to break the clip and cut off the part that you don't want them to go, or you don't want them to go, like at the end, for example. Another way to fix it might be to just create two keyframes and adjust the transform position of the character so that they're not moving forward. but again, be very cognizant of where the character's foot position is. Like if the character is taking a step forward and they're not moving forward, then it's going to look like the feet are going to slide and it's going to look weird. So those are two general ways you can fix that. But again, be wary of the foot sliding. Okay. So Terry, you're going to demo how to add a custom camera in Motion Director. Can you still show this? Yeah, sure. So let's go ahead and all right, let's just create a new one here with this character. And let's give her casual all. Okay. So in camera settings, we're going to create an initial follow camera here, record to camera, create a new camera. Okay. Right now we don't have any cameras enabled. So create a new camera. It's going to be a follow camera. We're going to create a new camera, and we're going to have this targeted to this character, I hope. Yeah. Okay. This one. Yeah. Good. She is female 03. Now, what you can do is you can create a custom view right here. You can use any one of these presets. So full shot is this one right here, close up right here, bird's eye view, this one right here, custom view. I can customize the view wherever I want. Maybe I want it to be like kind of slightly to the side, something like this, where she's kind of walking into the distance. Okay. And it'll be following her. Okay. So the follow cam is really easy to do. Just create it like this. And you can set this one to the default if you want. Okay. And then for the game control settings, don't worry about this. We're just going to go ahead and press start. And oh goodness, what happened here? I'm not sure why it snapped to that other view there. Oh, we didn't set the camera, the custom view first. Okay, that's right. That's another step you need to take. So this one created this. If we exit our triggers, go into, you can see we have MD camera, which is right here. Let's switch it to MD camera. So that's what we just created. Obviously, that's not the one what we wanted in the beginning there. So you're going to select all this and delete it. We'll create another one called MD camera 02. Okay, so again, follow camera, record to camera, create new camera, custom view 1. Yeah, let's do this. And set it like right here. Okay, so then set. Okay. And then once we set it, then it should be fine. There we go. Okay. So now it'll follow from like a sort of a 45-degree angle right here. Okay, so this is kind of the best way to, just create a follow cam and whatever. There it created all these keyframes right here. What you can do is you can, excuse me, you can see them all right here, and there's all the transform keyframes. So yeah, there's tons of other stuff you can do, but I won't kind of explore that right now. But if we switch to our MD camera 2 or 0 rather, this will be the result. Oh, I think we animated at a different point. Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, goodness sakes, what the heck? There you go. Okay. Had the wrong camera selected. Man, sometimes I just got over the flu. Sometimes I get a little bit of brain fog going on. So there's our follow cam we just played back there. Cool. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question there, Terry. Thanks, Rosemary. Kenneth asks, can you use it with Cartoon Animator 5? Not yet, but I think that's something that I think the rule of thumb is that whenever you see something integrated into iClone 8 or iClone 7 or whatever, it's eventually going to be also integrated into Cartoon Animator 5 if the tool is popular enough. So I think Motion Director is popular. I think it's a great tool, to be honest. I've used it personally in many projects. So just because I'm kind of a quick and dirty animator at times, but yeah, I think we'll definitely see motion director in the future in Cartoon Animator 5. Okay, last question here from Terry, and then we'll end off. Thanks for sticking around, guys. Unrelated to this webinar, is there a tutorial that shows Reillusion how Reillusion turns all the characters white? Yeah, I mean, there's a couple ways you can turn your character white, I guess. The easiest way is to make sure that they're selected. Let's go to our preview cam. You can see. I mean, it depends if you want the final render to be completely white, but you can just go to camera or your shader mode set from high. You can change it to minimal. Excuse me. And there you go. You can see the characters turn, well, gray, kind of a rusty color and a white color over here. Change from minimal to quick mode. That's one way that you can make your characters turn, minimal is the completely white. Another way, if you wanted your character to be entirely white, again, I'm not sure what, there's maybe a few scenarios where you'd want to do this, but just go ahead and select, excuse me, basically delete all your materials. Whoops, deleted the character. Sorry. Good timing to end off the webinar because I'm feeling a coughing fit coming on. All right, just select your material, delete, there you go. Character is white, Shazam. All right, you can turn everyone into ghosts by just deleting their base color map. All right, coolio. Yeah, awesome, guys. Thanks so much for sticking with me this webinar. Hopefully you learned a lot. Again, feel free to send out the survey. We're going to send out the survey to you guys, so make sure you fill that out. Give us topics that you want to hear about in the future, and we will be integrating those into our future webinar plans. And yeah, you can always watch this at any time later on YouTube. Apologies again for the little arm bug thing there that kind of messed up that demo, but those dems the breaks sometimes. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys joining me today for this webinar. And make sure you check out our Reillusion courses page for future webinars as well. And yeah, I think with that, I'll just say adios and good evening. And hopefully you guys have a great holiday season coming up. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye, guys.